Hello. How are you doing today? I'm Scott. I'm a little irritated today. We've been trying to find different places for help at different places, but nobody will help because we're from Genoa. And we don't live in certain school districts. But these were phone numbers that I had gotten from Snap that actually told me that you know they would help, and they were wrong. But so I got an allergy appointment today. Apparently, I'm allergic to everything, even down to my dog. Yeah, my Carol Ann. But they might have a solution to help me out. Um, they have a new medication out, injection once a month that will help with my severe allergies, and so we're waiting for approval on that. That just was offered yesterday. I did agree to be in the burn pit. Uh, uh, God, it's like a registry. And
Well, what started this? Back in, let's go back to 2004.
three,
Yeah, 2003.
I was at Camp Anaconda in Balad, Iraq. Of course, we also had burn pits not only in Camp Anaconda or Camp Victory, whatever they wanted to call it that day. Um, we were exposed up in Kuwait, Camp Doha. It's you don't you realize what you're being exposed to, but the problem is that you got a job to do, so you do it.
Before Iraq, were you on any medications?
I was on zero medications. Um, I was able to run my mile and a half and maintain my PT. Um, I just floored.
Now, before that, because you were also in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, from 84 to 87, got out in 90.
Okay, where were you stationed?
Camp Lejeune.
During this whole thing that everybody's seeing on TV, is that the same? Was that where you were at with that toxic water?
Yeah, I was exposed a few times because I had to go over to that side of the base. You go and do the chemical warfare, the CS gas. Um, of course, you use the water to go and flush out your eyes and so on and so forth. And that was part of the toxic water.
So, were you ever in that toxic water grouping?
Yes. I actually was part of the group for the toxic water in Camp Lejeune back in the 90s.
Okay, so why was there never any compensation for you to? Why did you not get any compensation for that?
Just because I didn't come up with any cancers, which was great. I'm very happy about that. The only other thing is that you know people's children had a lot of birth defects, and we knew something was going on, and it didn't take me long, that something was happening. We just didn't know what it was, and then of course they finally broke the story in '87. The year I got out of the Marine Corps. But they didn't stop it until after I got out. But I won't receive any compensation because I had a child, and he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him.
So you don't have cancer, and because you have a child, that excluded you from any compensation.
Yeah.
Okay. So fast forward, you get out of the Marine Corps, you go into the National Guard.
Yeah.
And you were an MP.
Yes.
And you did that for how many years?
From March of '98 till October, early November of '03.
Okay. So you got out, and you were having trouble breathing.
Yeah.
And you were having a lot of PTSD.
Yeah.
You went to the doctor or to the hospital because you were just like, I need my medication and all this other stuff.
Right.
What did they say to you?
When I first started going to the VA, I went to the VA in Cleveland because, I was working as a paramedic, and we were working with the VA clinic here in Toledo. So I thought that it would be a conflict of interest, if I did that.
No, when you went to the hospital. This was like your very first day back. You went to MCO.
Oh, yeah.
And they told him that it was an asthma attack, humidity was high.
And it was.
And it was, because it was July in Ohio. So you're kind of, at the grace of God. And
I never had asthma.
Yeah.
I served all that time in the Marine Corps, ran all the many, many miles, and I never fell out of a run, only to puke once, and I still was in formation by the time we got to the end of the run.
So you could run everything. So fast forward. So now you have this diagnosis of asthma.
Yeah, that was in '04. That was shortly after I got back.
And then you
Of course, I didn't really believe that it was asthma because, you know, you never really heard of anybody aside from a child that has asthma and then still has asthma as an adult. But you never really hear about an adult that just comes up with asthma.
right.
You know, that's, to me it was a whole new thing. And that kind of threw us off because we're just not used to that, you know.
So as time went by, the asthma gets worse. And then they tell you that you have COPD.
Yeah, COPD, not really emphysema because, you know, I never smoked.
Yeah,
The only thing that I smoked was
a cigar.
maybe a cigar.
Didn't inhale.
No, and you're not inhaling a cigar. But, you know, and, you know, of all the fires that I've been in, I've always been on an SCBA, you know. That I never had to go into the hospital because I was, you know, exposed to excessive amounts of smoke, you know, smoke inhalation. It just
So-
never happened, which was great. You know.
So explain to everybody what happened in October that made it, because he retired from being a paramedic, and then he went on to being a truck driver.
I drove for started out at Swift, went over to USA Truck, drove a big old Kenworth for them. I love that truck. And then I had gone over to Western Express, drove there for almost 2 years, and you know, it was a great experience, but it was time for me to come home. You know, the kids are starting to have children of their own, so I wanted to be home to be around for the grandchildren. So I started switching over at Home Depot down in Van Buren, Ohio. And then I got moved up here to Lucky, and loved it, loved the job, but I just couldn't keep up with it because I kept, you know, having problems breathing. I would cough so hard I would literally pass out. You know, that it was insane. So when I ended up going to the hospital, God, what was it, the 17th?
I think it was the 16th.
16th?
I actually talked you into going.
Yeah, the 16th, I finally went into the ER, was in ICU until like the 21st. And that bought me oxygen for now. I don't think I'll ever be able to truly come off it. You know, it's just what it is.
What are some of the struggles that you're going through right now?
Well, anytime that I go anywhere, I have to go and take my oxygen concentrator with me. You know, and that stupid thing weighs, what, 25, 35 pounds. And you're dragging it around with you everywhere you go. And
Don't they have those little portable oxygen? This is a question that is frequently asked. Well, you know that they have those little oxygen things. It's just like a little bag. He's not opposed to those.
no,
He would love to have one.
but at $3,500 per unit, I can't really afford that. Especially since I'm only living off from $1,000 a month.
And that's because you can't work.
I can't work. They
And
won't let me back to work.
the VA payments are,
I'm still waiting for them to make their judgment. They've been working on it since November. And I don't know what they're waiting on. They've got all the information. And it's still a hurry up and wait.
yeah.
And I've been running back and forth to Ann Arbor at least 2 times, sometimes 3 times a month, getting labs drawn, breathing tests, another kind of breathing test again. You know, every time I turn around, there's another breathing test. And when I go back in June, I got another breathing test before I see the doctor. You know, it's a never-ending issue.
We got the internet back on, which is great. That way he can keep up with his appointments. He can actually do something when he's sitting down. And
There was a situation. Okay. Daggone cat was messing around and finding out. Bentley does not deal well with the cat messing with me. Isn't that right?
So, but we have gotten on a program where they actually give us the internet, which is great. Our electric is still being decided, I want to say.
Yeah.
Kind of
At least they got it back on.
Yes. Yes.
Idiot.
And let me tell you, when you want to go through Edison, you know, you've got 10,000 things that you're worried about, 10,000 things that are going on. And then you want to, you know, then you get that shut-off notice. You're talking to 110 different people, and then they just want to rope you
Foo-foo
around.
away.
Yeah. Hold your breath for 48 hours. Just do that. And that is how it feels to him when he can't breathe. When you have doctors from the VA that are calling you and telling you, yes, this is on VA paperwork,
Yeah.
VA stamp, the whole 9, that should automatically give you the rubber stamp.
Yeah. This should have just been rubber stamped on through, and it's not. It is not.
5 different doctors from the VA said that this is medically necessary, and you want us to wait 48 hours. So you go home and you sleep.
And you wake up the next morning, power's cut.
Yeah.
The best part is you're on a CPAP. Now all of a sudden, you have no air being pushed in. Surprise.
Now, some people can, obviously, we have taken pictures without your oxygen tubing on,
Yeah.
like during Hunter's wedding.
Yeah.
Our
I can stand it for a few minutes, you know. When I'm just sitting, like now, I could actually be off of it, but, you know, I'm sitting at 93 to 95%, you know, just sitting, which is fine. You can deal with that. But I get up and start walking around, and it drops in the 80%, you know, the mid 80s, and next thing you know, I get to pass out. Good times. Good times. Trying to not break a hip, you know, because you could feel it happening, so
Yeah.
you're trying to sit down and it is kind of comical. It does have its comical moments.
So what's some of the things? I mean, have you gone to a Social Security disability?
I have filled out the paperwork with that. They called me, they sent me paperwork, signed all their paperwork, sent that back in, and they're going to use also the same paperwork that the VA has. And they said I should know within 3 months. So we'll see how that goes.
And we are in the midst of month, what? 1? Or is this month 2?
For
Waiting.
Social Security?
Yeah.
This is just, it's actually the start of month 1, actually month 2 from when we started. I waited a little bit because I was hoping that the VA would come through, and then Social Security disability is literally a rubber stamp.
Okay.
But, you know, I figured I'd start on that paperwork just to get it rolling. And they also know that I do have a claim in with the VA for it. And, you know, literally every job that I've been trained to do my whole adult life has been something to do where you're going outside all the time. You know, even as a truck driver, over the road I could probably get away with it, but, you know, definitely can't do it as a switcher, and I'm not going back on the road.
What about respiratory therapy?
You know, I was on respiratory therapy through St. Charles, and they did a really good job. They're awesome people up there. Have nothing but good things to say. But the problem is that when you're living on a budget, and that budget is only $1,000, I can't go to them because I gotta put gas in the car. You know, and I'm driving from Genoa to Oregon twice a week, and then trying to go to my doctor's appointments, and you know, so I stopped going. I told them that I just couldn't afford it, and they understood. They got it, and apparently the VA didn't understand it, so they set me up with pulmonary rehab through the VA in Ann Arbor through the VA. I'm like, I can't afford to go to the one in Oregon What makes you think that I can afford to go and drive 139 miles round trip twice a week? You know, come on. You know, but that's the mentality that you got to work with, and sometimes I question it. But the one good thing about the VA is the medical side of it has changed over the last 20 years. You know, from the grouchy old nurses that go and yell at everybody to nurses and doctors and all the staff there are very, very helpful, very appreciative. You know, they constantly thanking us for our service. You know,
Anything to do to help.
anything to help. The bean counters, on the other hand, you know, they got a job to do, and their job is to do nothing but deny. You know, unless it slaps them in the face, they're gonna sit on it anyway.
Now, you did have a short-term disability from your company.
Yes, I did.
How long did that last?
11 weeks. So I've been done since the second week of December. Went quicker than you thought.
Yes.
But, you know, I can't say anything negative about my company because I'm still technically employed by them.
Oh, they're great.
These people have kept my insurance up to date.
Right. No, I was just asking because of financial wise.
Yeah.
How long did that money last? Well, that lasted until the first half of December. So,
Yeah.
I mean, then you're playing catch up with that stuff and everything. But yes, the company still has him employed when he's able to come back. They do not want to get rid of him. He's been a model employee, and
Yeah, I was up in the top 3, you know, for moving trailers. And that's okay. I mean, it is what it is, you know. But it just felt kind of good when you're considered the top 3, and that includes both shifts. So I was pretty happy with that. You know, I don't have anything negative to say. They've been awesome. My life insurance is still paid up, and they will keep that until, you know, I'm
you're done.
fully disabled. You know, once I get all of it from the VA and through the
Social Security.
Social Security, but you know, it'd be senseless for me to go and quit now. You know, I would just basically be shooting myself in the foot. You know, life insurance is covered, health insurance is covered, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. So this is kind of our journey through this whole thing. We have inhalers, we have pulse oxes because sometimes he coughs and can't go away. He's got more inhalers. I think there's 3 of them. There's 3 different ones or 4 different ones.
Yeah, 3.
But how many medications are you on now?
I don't remember.
Here's a good question. How old were you when you went, and how old are you now?
When I went to Iraq, I was 37 years old. Now I'm 57. So it's been 20 years since I was exposed.
How has it changed your life?
Drastically. It really has. Because I can't run around like I used to. There's things that, you know, even as I got older, you know, I knew I couldn't do just because I got older. You know, the body changes, and what I used to do all the time, I can't do now. And sometimes it's a bitter pill to swallow, you know. But
What is there anything that you look forward to other than seeing God?
retirement with you and my puppies.
Well, you haven't even introduced me.
Yeah, my lovely wife, Lindy. And, you know, the granddaughters right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have two granddaughters, and just watching them growing up, and that's so awesome.
That's very special.
Yeah.
We have time to hang out, and we hang out and we laugh all the.
We try to keep the positive side of everything, you know, because if we didn't, we would just end up crying, and it would put us in a bad place. And I've already been in too many dark places. I'm in a good place. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Do you think that soldiers that have come home within those 20 years, or even 10 years, and they came home, the ones that were older than you, or maybe a little bit younger, and they passed away from a cancer, they found out, you know,
Yeah.
what would you say to their families?
Just make sure that you get all your benefits, because families have a lot of benefits. And just go on the va.gov under benefits where it shows family benefits, beneficiaries. Look that up. Know it before the time comes. You know, that way when it does happen, you're not scrambling around. We just seen that just this past week, where one of our friends that lives here, he's a former Marine, and he passed away from cancer. Not that he was at Camp Lejeune or not, which he was, but he ended up dying from lung cancer.
And it went to his brain.
And it went to his brain, it metastasized. So, you know, you gotta go and find these things out, because she knew nothing. And when we gave her the information, she didn't do anything with it. So I don't know.
And that is thousands of dollars.
Yeah. You know, he deserves to have all that. He's earned it, you know?
You know, what I think that one of the things that really bothers me most is the fact that us women, a lot of times we are not in the know. She has no idea. And this is what really bothers me, is the fact that these men served your country. Whether you like it or not, or you don't believe in it or you do believe in it, these men fought for you to live the way that you do. All of them. But yet they have to not be able to support their families. They can't do all this stuff, and they are not just lowlifes that just don't want to work. No, there's medical reasons on why. And if something is stamped VA, and I know that people are gonna come at me and be like, oh my gosh, you know, well, there are so many horrible people out there. Yes, I get it. I understand that. But it shouldn't be this hard. You shouldn't have to have $50,000 sitting in your account so that you can live in order to get disability up until such time. It's just, it's absolutely crazy to me on how hard this is. Fortunately, nobody's coming at us for the lot rent because she already knows the situation that we're in. She will get her money. It's just day by day, and you just have to go day by day. And watching him just sit here with his head in his hands, just researching whatever he can. We can't afford a $25 book that says, oh, the soldier's guide to the VA. No, we can't afford those things. That's $25 that I could spend on 3 meals. I'm pretty crafty. So that's kind of what really bothers me, is that, yeah, everybody's thanking him for his service, but people aren't, there's nobody helping. We got a food pantry that we can go to Thursday, and by the way, you can only visit that one once because we're not within the school district. So we just kind of sit here, and sometimes we just laugh at each other because there's really nothing we can do. So that's my take on it.
And that's all I got to say about that for now. So we'll talk to you guys later and let you know how my appointment goes. I've got one today by video. We'll see what they come up with on that.
All right.
All right.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.